you in the new year, the true new year, if the Most High permits, and that would be first fruits. All right. Speaking of the new year, March 1st, which is the true new year, March 1st sundown, we'll be in New York to kick off the new year. All right. That's apropos. So when I say New York, it's apropos that we go back, we go to the place a lot of the teachers from the beginning came out of New York, Babylon itself, right? And began to expound truth concerning that we are, in fact, the true children of Israel. So we're going to kick it off with the new year, March 1st. And I can't wait until we all converge on Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they dropped a bomb on us, but we're coming to drop the truth bomb on them.
That's right.
Coming around full circle to finish what our forefathers tried to begin with, building their own economy called Black Wall Street. Right? But this economy we're building is paving the way for our Christ to set up his government. Okay? That's right, which is greater than Black Wall Street. And a lot of people don't know that Black Wall Street started off with brothers and sisters who predominantly knew that they were Israelites. These weren't regular churches set up in Tulsa where they dropped the bomb at. If they had regular AME churches and all that in that area, they would have left it alone. But these people who went into Tulsa had the knowledge that they were Israelites and was setting up an economy separate from Wall Street, the regular Wall Street, knowing they were Hebrews. And on top of that, they believed in Christ. Okay. So again, we're going to expound on that and more. And hopefully we can do some type of historical respect to how we came into America as slaves, revolted, and joined the Gadites as the Seminoles. And from Seminoles, we went on that long trail of tears into Oklahoma and became self-sufficient, only to get bombed and destroyed. Whereas the Most High would send the Spirit in the earth again to awaken the 12 tribes of Israel here in America to go back into that same place of ashes, to let our ancestors who were killed know that their work, their sweat, their tears, their sacrifice didn't go in vain. That the Most High in these same areas now that was bombed, right? That the Most High has now awakened and has called back his people before the Exodus. Right? All right, let me deal with this here. New Year. New Year. Okay, let me make sure this is clear here. Our New Year. Oh yeah, I was dealing with an old calendar here. I'm sorry about that. The New Year, new month, spring holy day, February 20. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Let me make sure I have this correct, the list. I'm going to pull it up here because I don't want to put things out there, because let me pull it up on the calendar here. Because what happens is people will put it out there and claim, oh, our calendar is incorrect. So I may have an old calendar, so let me look at this here. All right, there it is. There it is. February 28th, 2026 is the new year. February 28th, 2026. I apologize, I had an old calendar here. February 28th, 2026 is the new year. We'll find ourselves in New York at that time. All right? Just wanted to make sure we clear that up. Thank you, Elder Dell. I had an old calendar. Sorry about that. All right. February 28th, 2026. February 28th is the new year sundown. Okay? Blessings, blessings. Now, let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. All right? Let's jump right in. Let's jump right in now. Before I jump in, Elder, I received a message before, and thank you all for all you do to support the work. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? Mm-hmm. I received a call, well, a text that the skies were looking eerily different today. Like there's some haze and chemicals in the sky. And I responded back with, yes, they're cooking up another storm. If these things were natural, there would be no need for them to spray the sky all over the place. And you're right. So obviously they're cooking up a storm. Brothers and sisters, if you don't know about this, do what? Look up weather warfare. I've never seen, Elder Lawyer, so many storms within one season since my existence. And I'm talking about heavy storms. Usually have one big heavy storm, and then after that, things begin to subside, moving us into the new season, spring. But if you notice, we've had serious snowstorms, 3 to 4 of them already on the East Coast alone. And now we have one that's going to blanket, that's going to affect, as they claim, over 100 million people. That's unheard of. And I'm saying that to say that's why the Bible, Christ warned us, pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. The winter and the Sabbath, they are about to hit the earth with their what? With their weather warfare. And I'm saying that to say, brothers and sisters, make sure you have all you need in the midst of the storm. Okay? Just make sure you have provision, food, water. Also, power alternatives in case the electric or something goes out. A generator or something that can get that can have you with some electricity or power. Batteries and all the little things that we don't even think about on a regular basis becomes important. All right? It's always good to have a backup battery generator, if not in a gas generator, just so that you can have power to power your devices to contact others. Okay? So these are the times we're talking about, because believe it or not, in seasons like this, we are experiencing drills for what's to come. One day, folks, here's the reality. The grid is going to go down and will never come back. That's going to happen. That's the reality of it. One day, the grid is going down and it's never coming back. That means no electricity. So again, brothers and sisters, make sure you prepare for times like this. Winter, Sabbath, Christ warned us that, hey, pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. Letting you know, giving us an insight to the time that they would actually attack God's people. All right? So I look at these things as what? an opportunity, even if things blow over, these circumstances are opportunities to prepare for the times we're coming in. So make sure, brothers and sisters, that you have everything you need for you and your family, an emergency contact. If in worst case scenario, if somebody, we already have it set up in the church. If something happens to a degree where it's red alert, the officers go out to all the houses to make sure every house is okay. 2 officers are appointed in every area where there's a church, all over the earth. Okay? So we have that in place, but that doesn't mean that, brothers and sisters, you cannot apply the same. To make sure you have an emergency contact with family. If something happens, automatically they know, boom, let me go check on the person. Let me go, because if devices go down, if technology go down, we'll need a face-to-face to know that our people are good. Okay? So I'm just putting this out there in concern. We're coming into a storm. I believe the Most High is going to bring us out on the other side, right? But still, use it as an opportunity to prepare for what's to come. All right? Please. Please. All right. Elder Lawyer, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right, all right. All praises be to the Most High. Hit that like button. Man, we're going to deal with this. I'm excited, Elder Lawyer, about the angle we're going to take on this particular lesson. Right?
All praises.
Right.
Yes, sir.
On this particular lesson, I love the angle we're going to take. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Right? The rise of the Nephilim. Diversity and inclusion. Brothers and sisters, how can we make sense of the Western world? When I say make sense, the religion or theology that have destroyed family. The true belief in the one God. How can we quantify and identify if we've been initiated into an ancient religious cult? Now, I'm going to say this, Elder, without apologizing. There's factions of this ancient religious cult that's practiced within modern religions that we know of today. Modern day Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, African spirituality. Brothers and sisters, here is the question. What is the origin? The origin spirit that we can identify that leads to transgenderism. Now, a Christian might say, well, listen, I'm a preacher who teaches against the progressive sex agendas. But yet you have a religion, unbeknownst to yourself, that actually promotes the transgenderism at its core. Right? Now we're going to break this down. And we're going to start off by going here. Because we're going to do this, work our way backward in the scriptures, and bring it right back to real time. Right? Satan appears as an angel of light. He operates in plain sight without people understanding. So he usually do it within abstract paints, the artistry, and all of that we have come to accept as normal or something that we must embrace, right? So he hides himself through abstract art and certain talents of artistry. But let me tell you, the elite powers understand that there's messages throughout all of it that leads back to an ancient religion with what? That's attached to a progressive ideology. Okay? Which will initiate all people who isn't with the Almighty into the cult. So let me go here, if you will. Now, Forbes magazine came out with an article years ago. Beyonce, Jay-Z posed alongside Rare Basquiat painting in a jewelry ad. Now, I don't want anyone to come down on Beyonce or Jay-Z because of this. Because they'd rather you focus on them and not those who have initiated them into the ancient Canaanite religion. Okay? So again, let's not simplify this by attacking people on the surface without getting to the root spirit. This is what the enemy would like us to do. We're here to break it down for you, because we must root out the spirit. We must give everyone the insight concerning its origin. So we're not doing this to attack Beyonce or Jay-Z. But we will expose some of the evil that's being promoted through their artistry, right? So this article was published August 23rd, 2021. Elder Lawyer, what was going on in 2021? Right?
Plague.
The plague. So everything that they push out there, folks, has intentions or meaning. The plague, or what they call COVID, was the height of the world's conversations when it comes to health, what people need to do, the vaccines and all of that, when all of a sudden this particular article, Forbes magazine, which mostly deal with what? The finances, the elites, when it comes to what they are worth and all these things, it's usually propagated, stock market, whatever you want to talk about, through Forbes. Forbes is the who's who of the elite when it comes to what? Self or financial worth. So what do we have here? An abstract painting. Now you know Jay-Z is into purchasing these particular pieces. An art collector. But he's not collecting the art just because he liked what's on it. Because he liked a certain painter. Folks, there's a lot of secret, esoteric cult messages in the art. Right? Now, hit the like button, folks, because guess what? No one, you're not going to find a breakdown on the origin of the religions that have initiated the whole world into a cult. You'll never figure it out all the way unless you point them to this particular video we're going to do today. I don't care if it's a young child, somebody over 12, someone growing up that's being, who are learning in our public education systems, going to college. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. You want them to see this video. You want them to see this particular video. Right? Now let me put it up here so you can see it clearly. Right? Move it here. Good. Now let's break it down. Right? Just on the surface. Just on the surface, brothers and sisters, right? Let's deal with the optics of this. Let's just deal with the optics. This symbolism alone from Forbes represents something, according to the occultic agenda. It's the Trinity of Babylon. Here's the plan. Hova, the Canaanite god of ancient Canaan. Hava, Hova, Yahweh, Hova, the god of wickedness. Right? Follow me. He's sitting down. Who's standing up? Queen Bee, the goddess. She's standing up over who? Hova. The man stooped down and the woman is now exalted. Folks, that's an ideology. Now, that's just talking about them. What it symbolizes. A woman, what? Being exalted over the man. Satan's order. The plan he had since the Garden of Eden. Right? But it also represents the Trinity. The same Trinity we find in the Christian church. The Trinity in the Christian church isn't the Godhead written of in the Bible. The same way there's a female deity, high deity, over the ancient religion of Islam. I broke that down last Sunday. Her name is Allah. But now we're going to go into the painting. What were they representing during the pandemic? That they have executed the plan. In this artistry here, they're telling us that they have executed and have perfected Satan's long plan against humanity. So we're going to move Beyonce out of the way, and we're going to move Jay-Z out of the way. And now we're going to take a good look at the abstract art behind them. The abstract art behind them. Right? The Carters posed for part of Tiffany's and Company's About Love campaign. Now let's deal with the painting. The painting. At the top, I need y'all to look at the word king here. K-I-N-G. King is crossed out. The destruction of the man. King is crossed out. That's why Hova is sitting down. Look at his face. Right? Upset, melancholy, have lost his position at the throne. Right? Then you have what? Knowledge of the cone. What is the cone? That's the circle of magic for control over women. The knowledge of the cone is a witch circle. If you can control the circle, you can control all the males from the outside or the outside of the circle. just make sure that you have a woman code where a woman cannot break allegiance with other women, even if the women are wrong. Right? So that's the circle of magic to control women and men on the outside of the cone. Folks, y'all gonna have to hit that like button because y'all have no idea where this is going, huh? Right? So without the fear that was placed on women, they would not have been able to execute what they executed during the pandemic. Right? It was fear that led to the majority of the people falling to the occult plan to put everyone under subjection. But it has something to do with what? Diversity, inclusion, and transgenderism. And you're going to find out today how it all comes together. Right? Now, check this out. You got the man sitting down. The king has been destroyed. The woman is now in power. Queen bee, which represents Asterisk. And then you see the word in the middle of all of this. Now this painting is worth millions, folks. It says here, dunce, 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 dunce. The people must be what? Controlled. A dunce is the class clown, the dumb one, right? So you have to program the world to become stupid. At the same time, when they executed their plans under the pandemic, the Bible, 2nd Baruch, told us that there will be a stupor in the earth. The majority of the people would be dunce. Right? So you must have a dumbed down society to execute the plan of the Amorite. The plan of the Amorite cannot be executed unless you have what? Successfully dumbed down society. Okay? And now through these equations, the whole world have been what? Initiated into the pagan Amorite religion. Right? So once they was able to accomplish what they accomplished in 2021, now they can put everything that they would like to achieve on that same conveyor belt, where now the world is ready to accept anything, everything, including Satan as their God. Huh? So look at it now. Now, when it comes to Elder Lawyer, what is this enemy that's called the Amorite? What is this enemy of ours? Who's the Amorite? Now, keep in mind, folks, Jay-Z, all due respect, and Beyonce are only slaves to the religion. Okay? What they don't want people to understand is the religion. Okay? Because every generation, they get a new female deity to be worshipped and a male. Jay-Z and Beyonce is just dealing with a slot at this time. But since the time of the Mickey Mouse Club, and back then when there was motion pictures, there was always a female and a male under her, being promoted under this ancient religion. Okay? Under this ancient religion. So let's talk about the ancient religion. Under the Jewish, that's right, Jewish Amorite theology, there's what? The Amorite theology, as portrayed in Jewish biblical tradition, was a what? A polytheistic, Canaanite-influenced system viewed as an idolatrous and moral corrupt. So the plan of the cult, the Amorite cult, is to corrupt humanity. As portrayed in the Jewish biblical tradition, because it is a Talmudic Jewish mysticism religion, it has nothing to do with the first 5 books of Moses. Here are their true intentions under the religion. It's a Canaanite and or Amorite religion. Canaanite influenced systems viewed as idolatrous and moral corrupt, centered on deities like Amaru. How many times we've heard that in the conscious community? Amaru, Baal, Moloch. Moloch is child sacrifice. See that? So the abortions and with children and all that, it's all part of a religion, folks. It have nothing to do with a woman's choice to choose. Go back to Moloch. Moloch is the god connected to child sacrifice. So they would set up a society where all of this is done in plain sight without realizing that these people who practice these things have been initiated into the Amorite cult. Let me read all the way through now. Amorite theology, as portrayed as Jewish biblical tradition, was a polytheistic. Polytheistic means the belief in more than one God. Hence the reason why they'll bring over people like Hindus, Buddhists, and others, Muslims, into our communities, because these people are polytheistic. Babylonian religion at the core that leads right back to the Amorites and Canaanites. That's why they bring them in our community, to separate us from our God, separate us from our Christ, and separate us from the true narrative of the Bible. That's what they're there for. Centered on deities like Amaru, Baal, Moloch, this belief system involved practices such as child sacrifice, divination, have your seers and all that, like you see all up in the church, talking about, I got a vision for you. Like that one fool who was on, this preacher who came out and said, listen, God just gave me a message and somebody's going to sow a seed for $10,000. And if they do this within the next 3 minutes, that God is going to, a minute and a half, God is going to make them a millionaire. And I'm not apologizing for that. That's a fool who put that out there for the people. And only people who are caught up, brothers and sisters, who are caught up with this dunce hat all over the place, would fall for it. This is the fool who would stand up and say, you know what, he's talking about me. Let me give him $10,000. See? It all goes back to manipulating the ignorant, which is part of their religion. But they must first create an ignorant, dumbed down society. Right? Some preacher came out there. Have you heard about that one, Elder Lawyer?
No, sir. No, sir. But it don't surprise me at all.
Yeah, this preacher came out there and said, hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait 1 second. God, and not only that, he had the organ playing behind it, this to really get into the emotions of it. Then the piano started moving. Oh, listen, God just gave me a message. There's somebody out there who's going to sow a seed of $10,000. It was in your heart to do it today. And if this happened within the next minute and a half, 3 minutes, or whatever, the Most High is going to make, God is going to make that man or woman a millionaire. No, you about to be made a millionaire.
Right.
And this is what he said to exclude himself. I know he's not talking about me. He said this. I know it's not talking about me. So I know there's someone out there and the music is going. Right? I'm going to show you right there. This is where it's at. This is what these evildoers are looking for. One who's caught up in the stupor. Right? So let's go back because there's a lot I want to cover real quick. Let's go back to here. Centered on the deities of Amaru, Baal, Moloch, this belief system involved practices such as child sacrifice, divination, and temple prostitution. OnlyFans, anyone? Where you would set a society where all relationships aren't according to God, but are what? You got it. It's an interaction. It's an interaction. Now the relationships is not living together forever, having a plan with the Most High. It's, hey, it's transactional. Well, now it's about if you give me money, I'll give you sex. They've initiated the whole West into this religion. Folks, that was the religion. Child sacrifice, divination, and temple prostitution, which contrasted sharply with the monotheistic covenant of Israel. So what they've initiated in the earth through what? Through the Jewish Amorite theology. That's what it is. Jewish mysticism. They have now disconnected God's people from him. And the majority of the world don't even know, especially in the West, that they are a part of a religion. The religion of the Amorite. So what does that mean? Before going into the scriptures, let me highlight this again. It's the king, Hova, the ancient god Hova, sitting down, who have lost all authority. So that now what? Power is transferred to the queen bee, who is the queen Ashtoreth. She controls what? The beehive, the knowledge of the comb, which is what it would initiate women into a woman code outside and above men. Once you have that cone of knowledge, now it can be administered from the top of your government to control everything within society, even though this construct is even counterproductive for women. This doesn't empower women. This destroys women too. That's the religion. Because if they can do this, they can eventually destroy their threat. Who's their threat? You got it. The awakening of the children of Israel. The awakening of the children of Israel. So how does this lead to transgenderism? Well, hold tight. We're about to go into those scriptures. I told y'all this is going to be good. One moment. the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Okay, Elder Lawyer. Now, I know most people out there have no idea who the Amorites were, right? So,
Right.
in order to give them insight to this religion, this destructive religion, we must understand the role, according to God, of the Amorites, right? So, real quick, in a nutshell, for those who don't know, brothers and sisters, the Amorites are the enemy. I'm speaking of their ideology. They have constructed an ideology that would continually have them attack and or go against God's chosen people. That's one of the reasons, one of the main reasons for their existence. It's their plan to attack us at all times. Where we fall short is to believe that it's the white people attacking us. When throughout history, they've been attacking us through all races of people. That's our mistake, believing, hold up, it's the white man attacking us. They would rather you believe that so that they can just switch it off and have an East Indian attack you through the attacks of the Amorites. Or have an African who's dealing with African spirituality attack you through the spirit of the Amorites. An East Indian or an Arab who would attack you with the same plan of the ancient Amorites. So if we can give you the origin of this religion and what it's all about, then now we know how to protect ourselves from this particular destructive satanic weapon, regardless of who it's coming through. See? Now, Elder Lawyer, let's introduce them to the Amorites. Let's get Genesis, the 14th chapter, with our father Abram. Right? Let's get Genesis 14 first.
Yes, sir.
Genesis 14, and this is when Abram, our father Abram, whose name was changed to Abraham, went to rescue Lot. We all know the story of Lot. The Most High warned Lot to leave Sodom and Gomorrah because he was going to rain fire down on this particular area, and the Sodom and Gomorrites tried to go into Lot's house and destroy him. Okay? Unfortunately for us today, those spirits are already in the house of the righteous. They tried to get in ancient times, during the time of Abram, during the time of Lot. Elder Lawyer, let's start at Genesis 14 and 1, and we're going to read down to 7.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 14, verse 1. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedaliomor, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Barah, king of Sodom, and with Bershah, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Atmah, and Shemaber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Kedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims, and Ashtaroth, Karnaim, and the Zuzims, and Ham, and the Emims, and Shavah, Kiriathaim, and the Horites, and their Mount Seir, and unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came unto En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, that dwelt in Hazazon Tamar.
So now we're giving you an insight to these Nephilim families who are in war even against one another during the time of Abram. Right? So this is introducing you to the Amorites without you understanding what is their core purpose or religion. Well, check this out. Let's now, Elder Lawyer, go to Genesis 15, where the Most High makes a covenant with Abram. Right? Let's go straight to the covenant. Let's start at the first verse, 15 and 1.
Genesis 15, verse number 1. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram. Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in mine house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
So, of course, just being righteous isn't giving someone access to the promised seed. Eliezer was a righteous man. He couldn't get the promise, neither could Ishmael get the promise. Eventually, that promise would come on who? Our father, Isaac. Read.
This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
Come on.
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven.
What verse
and
are you
tell
at?
the stars. Verse 5.
Verse 5, excuse me, it moved. And he brought him forth abroad. I'm sorry, go on.
And said, Look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he accounted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God.
It's the what? It's the religion of the Amorites. Take being from the Hebrews, but he knew that there was initiations, sexual initiations.
Okay, this is Priest and Elder Ricard, Priest and Elder Zion Ash from the Gathering of Christ Church. We're here to teach this Wednesday's class. It's going to be short, sweet, directly to the point. If you have your pen and paper, make sure you write down the scriptures we're giving you. And if you have any questions, we can answer those. First off, we would like to personally thank YouTube for suspending our account. And, you know, we want to thank it. And the reason we would like to thank YouTube is once they do things like that, the brothers and sisters all over the world, not just the United States, mobilizes to work together. Okay, once there's an attack, brothers work together. And now we have more videos on the new site than we did both sites together, now that the brothers uploading them like all crazy. And on top of that, also the fact that we exposed, it's just a different
to make sure it was correct, but that is correct. The reason America chose Afghanistan to be in Afghanistan is deeper than just the poppy seed. Even though they're using that particular poppy seed and using it as some type of hallucinogen of heroin, understanding that that particular herb or that particular flower was an herb and it wasn't supposed to be used for a drug or a condensed drug or hallucinogen, how Satan is using it. The poppy, well, that particular plant only grew in a certain area. And I'm going to go into that plant soon, one of these days, on what was happening in biblical times concerning it. It wasn't supposed to be turned into a drug. It was actually a natural flower to eat for specific purposes. But just like any herb out there that's used for meat, the body uses it for certain nourishments. And you have some flowers out there that were used to stimulate different parts of the brain to help nurture your brain for memory and all those things. But I'm going to go into that at a separate date. But the key point I wanted to bring out is that the area of Afghanistan was the area in which the 10 tribes, a lot of the 10 tribes were taken out in 2 Kings, the 17th chapter. So at the very end, Satan and his government would have stations all over the earth where the children of Israel migrated. And that's what they're doing in Afghanistan. That's the real reason they're there. It's because the majority of the people in Afghanistan are from the lost 10 tribes of Israel. And that's a lesson we're going to go into very soon also, in identifying who is Israel. See, the point of the matter is that at the very end, like I've mentioned many times before, is that the Roman Empire under Satan was looking to destroy the children of Israel. Because of Esau's war against Jacob. Most people don't know who Esau is. Esau is the European powers, like the British families and the Europeans who have not mixed their blood with other races. They are Romans, they're Edomites. Okay, and they have a war to exterminate the children of Israel throughout the four corners of the earth. But first, they must find that DNA code. They had to first identify the land masses in which Israel was dispersed. Then afterwards, they had to find that genetic code. They're looking for a specific code to totally exterminate. And they're in Afghanistan, knowing that the people of Afghanistan is from the lost tribes of Israel. Now, what I'm going into today is to show you in chronological order what America called the Arab Spring. How the European Roman nations or the British monarchy, along with the United States, went into the Middle East to cause these uprisings. To prove to you the Bible is correct, we're going to show you in chronological order where they went and what are their purpose. The purpose is actually to bring destruction or woes or plagues to these specific areas in gathering God's people. I've said it many times before. This is not a scenario in which Israel, the children of Israel, is going to be picked up into a cloud somewhere and placed into the wilderness to be saved. It's through the destructions and the woes that will push our people into the areas in which the Most High will have us, which is the wilderness at the very end. I also want to pinpoint, before I leave this lesson, I'm going to touch on the person or the guy, this guy named Pike, who came on our radio show this coming last Wednesday, and to show you how they deceive on every level in trying to hide the fact that the people of color are the children of Israel. And then after that, I'll open it up for questions for about 10, 15 minutes. It won't be a long lesson at all. So let's begin. If you want to go, you can go with your bowl there if you want to try it. It's in the kitchen, right? Yeah. All right. We'll let it sit there. Yeah, all right. You have it? The 16th chapter, 2nd Esdras. You got it? Okay. You got it? Okay, and we're going into Esdras, the 16th chapter. 2nd Esdras in your Apocrypha, the 16th chapter. You have it?
Mm-hmm. So, Revelation 16.
Now we're going to start in Esdras, and then we're going to go to Revelation 18. Show it in chronological order.
2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Woe be unto thee, Babylon in Asia.
Woe unto thee, Babylon in Asia.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria.
Gird up yourselves with cloths and sacks, and sack and hair.
And goeth into perdition. So he's of the seven. Read.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns, which thou sawest, are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet.
Why? Because America received the power. Jumped right over the 10 horns. Rome became a power, and America.
Raining, and you inspect.
Two, 7, 4. Okay. First of all, we'd like to say shalom to the brothers and sisters on this Sabbath. We have some key information that we need to bring out today, and hopefully you receive it through the Spirit of the Most High. We're going to first deal with the understanding of Christ's resurrection and the first and the misunderstanding that Christians have with the first day of the week, or Christ rising on a Sunday. We're going to deal with that in perfect detail. As you all know, we brought out a lesson not too long ago that's showing that the Sabbath, the weekly Sabbaths, are right on point. That means Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, which they call so-called Friday to so-called Saturday, have always been the seventh day of the week since the beginning, before the Romans named those days Friday or Saturday after their gods. Okay? It's always been this, and what we did a complete lesson. You can go online to see how the complete cycle through 364 days, you get 7 into those 364 days 52 times. So there's a Sabbath, 52 Sabbaths per year. You cannot do this through the moon.
We also showed in prior lessons that if you go through the moon or go to the moon, you throw off the cycles of the year. We also showed in that prior lesson that they were able, well, the powers that be were able to throw off days by giving us what you would call a solar year. You understand? And starting it a little later or a little earlier than the times according to the book of Enoch, to throw off the time so that if you do know it's 364, you will still have your Sabbaths disturbed. But through the Spirit of the Most High, we went into Enoch, we went into the extra biblical text along with the Bible to show you that you cannot calculate Sabbaths or holy days according to the moon. When you look at the word moon there, it means month. Okay? The moon in space, or the moon, which is a luminary, is a different Hebrew word, yarak. You good? It's a different Hebrew word, yarak. So the moon in the sky means yarak. Okay? The moon that you see when it comes to holy days in Scripture means month. But we know months are calculated differently according to the 364-day cycle. Okay, there's no 365 days in a year, it's 364. All right? Now, Lincoln bringing this together because most people were confused. Well, if the Passover they was asking was on a Sabbath, which we know it is, then how is it that 3 days later, when they went to the sepulchre, it said the first day of the week after Christ was crucified? Wouldn't that mean that the next day after Christ was crucified on a Sabbath, that the first day of the week was the next day? Therefore, where's the 3 days and 3 nights according to the resurrection? We're going to show you and clear up this confusion. A matter of fact, they purposely put that confusion in for a specific purpose so that you wouldn't know or you wouldn't observe the Sabbaths properly or the holy days properly. We are not to count according to the moon. That's what the Gentiles do. That's how we fell in old time. We are to count our Sabbaths every week, Sabbath to Sabbath. All right? Now, to give you all a recap, on the 14th day according to Leviticus, which is the second week of the first month, it's a Sabbath, which is the Lord's Passover, to show us that the Passover falls on Friday sundown every year. Why? Because it's on a weekly Sabbath every year. The Feast of Unleavened Bread always fall a day after it, which is sundown Saturday, or sundown after the Sabbath, the same as Leviticus 23 mentions. Now, we're going to give you some information. Get your pen and pads ready, and if those who don't have their pen and pad, you have your recording here, you can always go back and reference. We're going to show you the deception. All right, and we're going to begin the deception by giving you a quote concerning the deceivers. All right, and we're going back to whom you would know as Constantine. Now, you can always find this online yourself. It's a background of history concerning Sunday worship. Okay, for those who wish to receive this link, just reach out to us. Matter of fact, we'll put the link on our webpage so you'll have it, so we don't have to go through a bunch of emails strictly for requesting this particular document. But this is just a historical document giving us information on why the Christian church today predominantly deals with Sunday worship. I need you to read in the second paragraph here. And this information is put up under Nazarene of Mount Carmel. and this particular website that I went to on this one strictly deal with history and quotes of historians. So it's nothing that, you understand, it's nothing that's not credible concerning those quotes that came from the adversaries, the people, the Romans, who tricked the world into following their holy day and their gods. This is their quotes. Let's first start with, in 727 CE, the Roman Emperor Aurelian begins the new sun cult. I need you to read in 274.
In 274 CE,
This is the Romans.
the Roman Emperor Aurelian begins new sun cult. In 274, Aurelian created a new cult of the invincible sun, worshipped in a splendid temple, served by pontiffs, who were raised to the level of ancient pontiffs of Rome.
Now, these are the same pontiffs that are under the Roman Catholic Church today. As you can see, they have absolutely nothing to do with Christ and the disciples. These pontiffs were established as high priests under the Roman sun cult. Read.
It says, level of ancient pontiffs of Rome, celebrated every 4th year by magnificent games. Sol Invictus was definitely promoted to the highest rank in the divine hierarchy and became the official protector of the sovereign and of the empire. Aurelian, or he, placed in his new sanctuary the images of Bel and Helios, which he captured at Palmyra. In establishing this new state cult, Aurelian in reality proclaimed the dethronement of the old Roman idolatry and the accession of Semitic sun worship. This side-rail theology, founded on ancient beliefs of Chaldean astrologers, transformed in the Hellenistic age under the twofold influence of astronomic discoveries and Stoic thought, was promoted after becoming a pantheistic sun worship to the rank of official religion of the Roman Empire.
Now, the sources that they drew from for this particular quote, quote, is Franz Cumont, Astrology and Religion Among the Greeks and the Romans. Again, this source came from Franz Cumont in the book called Astrology and Religion Among the Greeks and Romans. Here's the initial institution of sun worship from ancient Rome. Now, if you wonder why our people worship on Sunday today, we were conquered by the Jesuits or Romans who came over to the Americas and enslaved our people. So by default, we were tricked into believing that we were worshiping our God and our Christ when we were really worshiping the spirit of Antichrist given to us by the Roman Empire. The next, it says, first Sunday law enacted by Emperor Constantine. Now this is 3 centuries, almost 3 centuries after Christ. First Sunday law enacted by Emperor Constantine, March 321 AD. The emperor is the true legislator of Sunday worship, not a man as some purpose. Okay? So, I need you to read this from 321, and this particular source came from Codex Justinianus, Trans of Philip Schaff, History of the Christian Church, Volume 3. Okay? Now here's quotes in Christian literature which allow us or will allow you to figure out the purpose of Sunday worship is actually the world religion and bringing in people or voluntarily deceiving Christians into following the spirit of Antichrist established by the Romans. Now, some people say, well, what about the Muslims? Well, the Catholic Church established that too. It's the same universal church in Arabic. An Antichrist. So they'll uphold Muhammad opposed to Christ. The same way the Catholic Church will uphold the Pope. As who? as they call the Pontius Father, total blaspheming against the Most High God. Now, read the quote from this particular source, Codex Justinianus.
It says, on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest.
Let them rest on what? The day of the what?
Day of the sun.
So here's Constantine instituting a law that people will rest on Sunday, opposed to the Sabbath of rest commanded in the Bible, opposed to the Sabbath Christ was following in the Bible. Read.
And let all workshops be closed.
Let all workshops be closed. Now, this is not the Most High telling us to close all shops and not to work or do anything. This is the Roman Empire taking the Most High's law and applying it to Sunday. Read.
In the country, however, persons engaged in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not suitable for grain growing or for vine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations, the bounty of heaven should be lost.
That means let's make sure we keep the finances going. So the agriculturalists and those that are at the pinnacle of our finances as far as agriculture, dealing with the land, we're going to allow them to continue to do that because we need that for finances. We need that to keep a society going. So he instituted this law. Read.
Given the 7th day of March, Crispus and Constantine being councils of each of them for the second time, 321 AD.
321 AD. Here's the transition from paganism to Christianity. Read.
This legislation by Constantine probably bore no relation to Christianity.
It had nothing to do with whether or not you were following Christ, this Sunday institution to worship the sun, or have Sunday be a day of rest. Now you would think the Christian pastors and those that follow Christ would look at the origin of the day they worship instead of claiming it doesn't matter. If it don't matter, then why do you religiously do it every Sunday? It was instituted by Satanists. Read.
It appears, on the contrary, that the emperor in his capacity of Pontifex Maximus was only adding the day of the sun, the worship of which then firmly established in the Roman Empire, to the other ferial days of the sacred calendar. What began, however, as a pagan ordinance ended as a Christian regulation.
Now it became a Christian regulation, which means its origin was in paganism and now picked up by the new Christians outside of Christ, outside of the teachings that was given to the disciples, an anti-Christ institution. Read.
What began, however, as a pagan ordinance ended as a Christian regulation, and a long series of imperial decrees during the 4th, 5th, and 6th centuries, and joint with increasing stringency, abstinence from labor on Sunday.
You could not work on Sunday. A Roman law. So here it is. They'll tell you that our law was done with as written of in the Bible so that you could follow man's law. Many shall come in my name, like Christ says. Many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. That means you will switch this and say that it's under Christ you're doing it. Read.
Moving to the next quote, it states, the church made a sacred day of Sunday, largely because it was the weekly festival of the sun.
Because it was the what?
The weekly festival of the sun.
It was the weekly celebration of the sun, worshiping a luminary. Read.
For it was a definite Christian policy to take over the pagan festivals endeared to the people by tradition, and to give them a Christian significance.
Now check this out. Listen to this clearly. Can 16, read.
Can 16. On Saturday, Greek Sabbaton, the Sabbath.
And this is the canon laws of Lacedonia, so you can understand. These are actual records that can be gotten. Read.
On Saturday, Greek Sabbaton, the Sabbath. The Gospels and other portions of the Scripture shall be read aloud.
So on the Saturday, other portions of the Scripture shall be read aloud. Read Canon 29.
Christians shall not Judaize and be idle on Saturday, but shall work on that day. But the Lord's day they shall especially honor, and as being Christians, shall if possible do no work on that day. If however they are found Judaizing, they shall be shut out from Christ.
Read on.
During Lent, the bread shall not be offered except on Saturday and Sunday.
Go ahead.
During Lent, no feast of the martyrs shall be celebrated, but the holy martyrs shall be commemorated on Saturdays and Sundays of Lent.
Now they started transitioning by having it Saturdays and Sundays originally, then they moved all the holy days eventually to their target, Sunday, bringing it back to the original institution from 274 BC. So they eased it. They let Saturday work along with Sunday for a while, and then afterwards they moved the Sabbath out of the way altogether, which was the original plan, to deceive Christ's worshipers and those Jews or Israelites that believed the Sabbath was holy, to trick them into discarding their day altogether and following and worshiping the sun god Ra, or the Babylonian god Tammuz and Nimrod. Now, where are we going with this? Let's bring this all together. We put together a lesson to show, and we're going to prove to you all today, that Christ did not rise on a Sunday. A matter of fact, in the Greek, we're going to read it, the first day of the week in the Greek is not even there in the places where the scripture said that the Marys went to the sepulchre upon the first day of the week. When you do the translation, it's not even there. And we're going to give you the correct translation today. When was Christ crucified? Christ was crucified on a Saturday. Okay? He was crucified on a Saturday. When did he rise? 3 days later. Nowhere near Sunday. And I'm going to prove it today. So if Christ didn't rise nowhere near Sunday, what is we dealing with? What are we dealing with here? Why did they deceive you with that first day of the week? To bring you into the worshiping of the sun. We're going to prove it. But on top of that, we're going to also make this an opportunity where we can show how you can actually break this down too. But you cannot do it without understanding the Old Testament's law. And that's the reason Christians tell their followers, Christian pastors, don't worry about the Old Testament. You need the Old Testament to break down Christ's death and resurrection, and to follow his holy days. Now, I need you to first go to Matthew, the 26th chapter, and the first verse. Matthew 26 and 1. Now, mind you, we've already proven in our past video, all right, that Friday sundown, the so-called Friday sundown, let me call it so-called because there's no such thing as Friday or Saturday. According to the Most High, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest. It's 7. It was man that named the 6th day Friday and the 7th day Saturday. But for the sake of conversation, so that you'll understand what we're talking about, we'll use those terms. We'll use the days of the week that they call, so that if someone come on these videos who don't know, they'll be able to immediately relate and follow what we're saying. So we're going to use the words they've given us. knowing that those words are injected all together. The Most High never named the first day of the week Sunday. He never named the seventh day of the week Saturday, and so forth. All right? Now, let's start at the book of Matthew 26, 1 and 2.
St. Matthew chapter 26, verse 1. And it came to pass when Yeshua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified.
Now, we're going to give you a time stamp to understand when this particular quote happened during the time of the week. What day of the week, if we were looking at it from our understanding, what day of the week did Christ make this statement? In order to understand this, let's go way back to the Old Testament, like I said I was going to do earlier, to Leviticus 23. Right? And let's go straight to the seventh day, when it tells us about the Sabbath. Read it.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 3.
Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done,
6 days work shall be done,
but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest.
but the seventh is the Sabbath of rest. Sabbath is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Okay? According to what we know today as far as the name of days. Read.
In holy convocation ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High.
It is the Sabbath. Read.
In all your dwellings.
Go ahead.
Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocations which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Go ahead.
In the 14th day of the first month.
Now here it is 7 days later. First you had the regular Sabbath, okay, from the first of the year. And now you have the second week, which is the 14th day, which is what? The next Friday. Read is what?
In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Most High's Passover.
Is the Most High's Passover. So if we know that fell on a Friday night sundown, then what day did Christ make this quote in Matthew 26? Let's go back to Matthew 26.
St. Matthew chapter 26, verse 1.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass when Yeshua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover.
You know that in 2 days is the feast of the Passover. So what day Christ was speaking here? 2 days before Friday. He's speaking on a Wednesday. See that? Read.
And the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified.
And the Son of Man is to be betrayed to be crucified. So Christ is speaking here 2 days before he's betrayed by Judas, right? Now, let's get this betrayal. In the same chapter, let's go down to the 14th and 15th verse. Read.
St. Matthew chapter 26, verse 14. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. And the first day of the feast, or now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yeshua, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
You see that now they're preparing for the Passover 2 days later. This is Friday day. So the same day the disciples is asking Christ, well, where are we going to keep the Passover? Where are we going to get the Passover? Was the same day that Judas went to the Pharisees and scribes in an attempt to hand Christ over to them. This is Friday during the day, 2 days later. How do we know this? The second verse tells us, you know that after 2 days is the Passover, and the Son of Man is to be betrayed. See that? So now we're Friday. Now, think about this. If we're now on Friday night, and Christ haven't even been crucified yet. How is it that after he was crucified the day later, then 3 days later he rose, would be Sunday? Impossible. This is nowhere near Sunday when Christ rise. And they knew this. Stick with me. I have more. Finish reading what you have in Matthew.
St. Matthew chapter 26, verse 18. And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The Master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
I will keep the Passover at my house with my disciples. So he's saying tonight we will keep the Passover. Read.
Verse 19. And the disciples did as Yeshua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover.
And they made ready the Passover. Let's go to Mark 14 and 1. 14 and 1 and read down to the 10th verse.
St. Mark chapter 14, verse 1.
Go ahead.
After 2 days was the feast of the Passover, and of,
Same thing, read.
and of unleavened bread. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him by craft and put him to death. But they said, Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar of the people.
So let's not do it during the day. Don't forget, they seen Christ earlier that day and did nothing. They didn't want to do it in front of the people, because Christ's followers would have fell on them. Read.
Verse 3. And being in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of spikenard, very precious, and she brake the box and poured it on his head.
Go ahead.
And there were some that had indignation within themselves and said, Why was this waste of the ointment made? For it might have been sold for more than 300 pence, and have been given to the poor. And they murmured against her. And Yeshua said, Let her alone. Why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor with you always, and whensoever ye will, ye may do them good. But me ye have not always. Verse 8. She hath done what she could. She is come aforehand to anoint my body to the burying. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. And Judas.
Now here it comes, because now this guy is offended that Christ done used this precious oil that could have been used for the poor. So now he have indignation against his brother, and now he's about to turn to the enemies of Christ to betray him. And this is the day he did it, 2 days from the time that Christ spoke of. Read.
Verse 10. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12,
One of the 12.
went unto the chief priests to betray him unto them.
Exactly. This is that betrayal 2 days from the time Christ spoke of. This is Friday day, before the sun go down for the Passover feast. Okay? Now, you'll never understand this if you deal with your Passovers according to the moon. And they did that on purpose too, so you would profane the Sabbaths and the Most High's holy days. And with this information, you know when Christ rose from the grave. You know when he was crucified, and you understand when he rose, which is significant. Suppose Christians run on this video and find out that Christ didn't rise nowhere near Sunday. Then what is the excuse for Sunday worship? You've been tricked. Read. I need you to go to the 12th verse.
St. Mark chapter 14, verse 12. And the first day of unleavened bread,
And on the first day of unleavened bread, which we know is the Passover, read.
when they killed the Passover,
Because we know the Passover is killed on sundown Friday. How do we know that? Hold that and get Exodus, the 12th chapter, in the 6th verse. See how you need the Old Testament to confirm? Why? Because Christ was dealing with the holy days according to the Old Testament. How can Christians understand his crucifixion and say his holy days are done away with? You have no idea what the crucifixion is about if you don't know the holy days. But you've been tricked into ignoring the Bible holy days and taking on Christmas, which is Saturnalia, a Roman worship. Okay? Taking on Easter, which is the worship of Semiramis, the mother of an Antichrist, the virgin mother of Tammuz. Read.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 6.
Read it.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month.
The 14th day of the same month, which is the second week, that Friday. Read.
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Now, this is why we know the Passover was actually killed that night, that Friday night before the feast, before Christ was betrayed. Because it was in the law. Christ is a fulfillment of the law. See that? So now we're at Friday. The Passover feast, the Passover lamb have been killed now. Right? Let's go to Mark 14 and 12. And let's read that again.
St. Mark chapter 14, verse 12. And the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover.
When they killed the Passover, showing you that the Passover is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, technically. Read.
His disciples said unto him, Where wilt thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover?
So where are we going to eat the animal we've just killed for your Passover feast? Read.
Verse 13. And he sendeth forth two of his disciples, and said unto them, Go ye into the city, and there shall meet you a man bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him.
Go ahead.
Verse 14. And wheresoever he shall go in, say ye to the good man of the house, The master saith, Where is the guest chamber, where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples?
Okay, now let's go to John 18 and 3. Let's get some more confirmation. Here's some more precepts that you can always get. As a matter of fact, let's get these precepts too. Let's go to Luke 22 and 1. Let's not leave anything out. Luke 22 and 1.
St. Luke chapter 22, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover.
More proof that the Passover is really a day included within the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So it's draweth nigh, it was coming. Read.
Verse 2. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot.
When did the spirit of Satan entered into Judas? When he was upset that Christ was anointed from all this precious oil. Read.
Being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains.
We know this is Friday day, going into more detail. Go ahead.
How he might betray him unto them. And they were glad and covenanted with to give him money.
And this is more information. This is more proof. And I'm going to say this. A lot of us, and I was mentioning this amongst the brethren before we came on today, that it don't matter what the Illuminati do and what FEMA going to do and all that. We just put those things out there and talk about it so that you could be conscious of the signs of the times. The biggest threat comes from those that are close to you. Those are they that will betray you or give you up to the government to be killed. That's the biggest threat, not the threat on the outside, but the threat within. It have always been the threat within that have destroyed our people. And I wanted to put that out because here's a prime example. You have the enemies of Christ meeting together and are frustrated because they don't know how to get to him and afraid that the people might destroy. So what do? They had to wait for an opportunity to come where someone who was amongst Christ get offended that would give them all the inside details to take him down. And this have always been the way the system have destroyed us. Even in our modern times, if you look at Martin Luther King, he was betrayed by Jesse Jackson. When you look at Malcolm X, he was betrayed by Farrakhan. On and on and on and on. There's always one person that's going to get offended and say, you know what, I'm going to crash the whole thing down. They don't realize what they're crashing down is their own people, their own upliftment, their own movement. They believe it's personal between them and a person when it's bigger than them. So they'll just wait for someone to get offended or get upset about something, and Satan will enter that person and say, you know what? Take them down. That's the example I gave earlier. But let's get back on schedule according to the timeline is what I wanted to give you to prove that Christ did not rise on a Sunday morning, and it was nowhere near Sunday. A matter of fact, he was crucified Saturday morning and rose 3 days from there. And I'm going to prove it. With the same scriptures that they try to use, I'm going to prove it. Luke, where are you?
St. Luke chapter 22, verse 6.
Go ahead.
And he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed.
Go ahead.
And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare? Verse 10. And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. And ye shall say unto the good man of the house, The master saith unto thee, Where is the guest chamber where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And ye shall show you a large upper room furnished, there make ready. And they went and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover.
And they made ready the Passover. They found the room in which they would have the Passover. And for those who are fairly new who don't know understand what the Passover is, in ancient times, before Israel became a nation, before our people came out of Egypt, the Most High told the Pharaoh to let our people go and refused. The Most High, one of the greatest plagues in in ancient history, was the plague that the Most High sent, which was the death angel through Egypt to kill the firstborn. Those of our people and those that believe that the Most High sent Moses put blood on the door. And when the death angel came through, and the death angel was Christ, when the Spirit came through, all those that had the blood on the door was protected from death. And that Spirit smit Pharaoh's son and killed all the Egyptians' firstborn. And there was a mourning through all of Egypt that was heard outside of Egypt from all the firstborn. Now, that's the true Christ and the true Most High that the Christians don't want you to know about. Okay? Who smit children, because those children was going to grow to oppress God's people. All right? So the Most High made that a memorial to be commemorated throughout all of our generations, to remember that time, that those who believed had that blood to protect them. Now that sacrifice and blood is Christ. And when the death angel comes through this earth to destroy, again, those that have Christ's blood will be protected, to understand the Passover appropriately. Getting back on schedule. Let's go to John 13:1.
St. John chapter 13, verse 1.
Go ahead.
Now before the feast of the Passover,
Now before the feast of the Passover,
when Yeshua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world,
having loved everybody,
having loved his own which were in the world.
having loved his own which were in the world. So that's the world it's speaking of in John 3:16. His own which were in the world. Christ did not come for everybody or anybody. He didn't come for people who just want to live their lives and do what they want to do and think that you're covered by the blood just simply because Christ came. It doesn't work that way. Read.
He loved them unto the end.
Everybody.
He loved them unto the end.
He loved them unto the end. Read.
Verse 2. And supper being ended, the devil now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him.
We know this is the day before Passover night. This is Friday day. Read.
Verse 3. Yeshua, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from the Most High, and went to the Most High, he riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. After that he poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet.
Now, I need you to hold there, because he did this today before the Passover feast. Now, let's go into the betrayal real quick. Let's go to John 18:3.
St. John,
Read.
chapter 18, verse 3.
Go ahead.
Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither with lanterns and torches and weapons.
Now, this is after the Passover feast. Read.
Verse 4. Yeshua therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto them, Whom seek ye? They answered and said, Yeshua of Nazareth. Yeshua saith unto him, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them.
Go ahead.
As soon then as he had said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. Then asked he them again, Whom seek ye? And they said, Yeshua of Nazareth. Yeshua answered, I have told you that I am he. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake of them, which thou gavest me, me have I lost none. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it, and smote the high priest's servant, and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Then said Yeshua unto Peter, Put thy sword into the sheath. The cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it? Then the band and the captain and the officers of the Jews took Yeshua and bound him, and led him away to Annas first, for he was father-in-law to Caiaphas.
So now we're showing you right after the Passover feast, Judas bring guards to capture Christ. This is Friday night in the evening after their feast. See that? Now, we know that Christ was crucified the next day. He told Peter, you will deny me 3 times before the cock crow, which means before the morning comes. So we know the next day would have to have been the end of the Sabbath or Saturday morning. After the betrayal, after the denial, Christ was crucified that day. Let's go there. Let's go to Mark 14:72. After they've taken Christ. Read.
St. Mark chapter 14, verse 72.
Start at the 70th verse.
Verse 70. And he denied it again, and a little after they that stood by said to Peter, Surely thou art one of them. For
They're saying he's one of them. We have Christ. I think that's one of the guys that used to follow Christ, pointing to Peter. And Christ told him, you will deny me 3 times before the cock crow, before the morning comes in. When the cock crows in the morning, you know it's morning time. They crow when they see the first light of the sun in the morning, automatically. Read.
For thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto.
Go ahead.
But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom ye speak. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Yeshua said unto him, Before the cock crow twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept.
When he thought thereon, he wept. Now here it is, the next morning he cried. Remember what Christ told him, knowing that he told Christ he would never deny him. But Christ knew he would have to deny him to keep the work going, or they would have crucified him too. He had to continue. You understand? So now, it's the next morning, Saturday morning, the cock then crowed. They have Christ. They're beating Christ and doing things to Christ during this same period, preparing him for his crucifixion. This is Saturday morning. Now, Let's go to Matthew 26 and 34.
St. Matthew chapter 26, verse 34.
Go ahead.
Yeshua said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee.
See that he said he wouldn't deny him, but as you can see, we've just read his denial. So this is giving us a chronological order of Christ's Passover to his crucifixion to show you that it was a day later. Because the same day after the cock crowed, they brought him up for crucifixion, which is Saturday. More proof of that. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Mark 15 and 42. Read it.
St. Mark chapter 15, verse 42. And now when the evening was come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath,
That was the day before the Sabbath. Read.
Joseph of Arimathea, an honorable counselor, which also waited for the kingdom of the Most High, came and went in boldly unto Pilate, and craved the body of Yeshua.
Now it says here that since it was the preparation, the day before the Sabbath, when Joseph of Arimathea came to ask for Christ's body off of the cross after he was crucified. That would confuse some people because that would make you believe that it was a day before Thursday or a day before Friday. But this Sabbath right here is not speaking of a regular Sabbath. It's speaking of the Sabbath of the next day, which was the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And I'm going to prove that. It's not speaking of a regular Sabbath because after Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, Passover, there's another Sabbath, which is a high holy day, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let's get it. Let's get this preparation the next day. Go to Numbers 28, 16 through 19 to get this preparation that Joseph is speaking of. Numbers 28, 16 through 19. Read it.
Numbers chapter 28, verse 16. And in the 14th day of the first month is the Passover of the Most High.
That's the Passover, which we know is a Sabbath. Read.
And in the 15th day of this month is the feast. 7 days shall unleavened bread be eaten.
Go ahead.
And the first day shall be in holy convocation. Ye shall do no manner of servile work therein. But ye shall offer a sacrifice made by fire for a burnt offering unto the Most High.
And let's see what that sacrifice is. Read.
2 young bullocks and 1 ram.
2 young bullocks and 1 lamb. They had to prepare 2 young bullocks and 1 ram for the next holy day, which is the Sabbath. That is the preparation it's speaking of, not for a regular Sabbath. They had to prepare for that. So Joseph went to the emperor and asked for Christ's body before they prepare for the Feast of Unleavened Bread 1 day after the Passover. See that? Because when the sun go down on the Saturday after they bring Christ's body down off the cross, they needed to do a new sacrifice for the Feast of Unleavened Bread 1 day after they do the Passover. So that preparation is not speaking of a weekly Sabbath, but a high holy day. Let's go there. Mark 15 and 42. Read it again.
St. Mark chapter 15, verse 42.
Go ahead.
And now when the evening was come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath,
It was the day before the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That Sabbath, read.
Joseph of Arimathea, an honorable counselor, which also waited for the kingdom of the Most High, came and went in boldly unto Pilate, and craved the body of Yeshua.
Now let's show you, according to Leviticus 23, that you have double Sabbaths. Read.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 5. And the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover.
That's the Lord's Passover.
And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord.
Go ahead.
7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. And the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. And the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work.
As you can see, you have more holy days within 8 days. You got the Passover, which is the Sabbath. You got the Feast of Unleavened of Leavened Bread, which is a Sabbath. And you have the 8th day, which is the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. 3 Sabbaths within 8 days. Okay? Now we're going to prove that Christ rose in between these Sabbaths of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I need you to go to John 19 and 31.
St. John chapter 19, verse 31.
Go ahead.
The Jews therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day,
Go ahead.
for that Sabbath day was an high day.
To prove to you it wasn't a regular weekly Sabbath. It was a high holy day. Feast of Unleavened Bread. It wasn't the regular weekly Sabbath. That's the precept you need to prove that. Read.
Besought Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other, which was crucified with him. But when they came to Yeshua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs.
They didn't break Christ's legs, fulfilling the scripture that his bones would not be broken. Okay, now here it is. Christ passed. The Spirit went into the Hades first to preach to the souls. Okay, and now it's what you would call dawning or coming into Saturday night, or the beginning of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the preparation for the killing of the 2 bullocks and 1 ram. Saturday night. Now, the question is, if it's Saturday night, how is it that when Mary came to the sepulchre, the Marys, 3 days later, the body was gone? And how is it that that was the first day of the week when the Sabbath is when Christ was crucified? Wouldn't the first day of the week be the next day? We're going to prove to you right now what was there in Matthew 28 when Mary came to the sepulchre. What you really should be seeing, and the fact that they've deceived the world into believing it's the first day so that they can have some type of biblical backing for their Sunday worship. Now remember, you got your holy day Passover, your holy day Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is a day later. Then you have, at the end of the 7 days, the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is also a Sabbath. Listen to this clearly. Matthew 28 and 1.
St. Matthew chapter 28, verse 1.
I want you to read it how you see it first, and then I want you to read it in the Greek, okay, to show you that they actually injected words. They injected words so that you would believe that this is the first day of the week. I need you to get that first out of the Greek so you can show them what we're looking at here. Turn around your computer if you can, and show them the direct translation out of the Greek first, so that they can take a still shot once they go over this video. I know everyone will be going over this video here. I need you to read the direct quote from the Greek outside of the English before translation. Read it.
This is from the Interlinear Scriptural Analyzer. Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. It states, it may sound a bit funny because it's directly from the Greek, but I'll read it. It says, evening, yet of Sabbaths, to the all-lighting, and to one of Sabbaths came Mary the Magdalene, and the other Mary to behold the sepulchre. I'll read it again. Evening yet of Sabbaths, to the all-lighting, and to one of Sabbaths came Mary the Magdalene, and the other Mary to behold the sepulchre.
Now, as you can see, it's not denoting at all a day of the week. It's talking about between the Sabbaths, between the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the end of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Marys came to the sepulchre. It don't say first day at all from the original translation out of the Greek. So why would they want you to believe it was the first day? That was the only way they can convince the whole church to come worship on the first day of the week. But let's show you out of the Bible itself. I want you to hold this for me here, if you don't mind, the microphone. If I can, without disturbing things, I'm going to turn this completely around so that you all can see this, what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, out of Eastward, a breakdown of each Greek word. I'm looking at a breakdown of each Greek word. Thank you, brother. And the word day is grayed out. It's not even, the word day is not even in the Greek. The word day is not even there in the translation at all. Y'all see that? The word day isn't there. Now, allow me to read this strictly from the Greek, being broken down from Matthew 28. It says, in the end, which that end translate to late in the day. So it says late in the day of the between two Sabbaths. That breakdown Sabbath breaks down to this. I need you to read this, the interval.
It says the interval between two Sabbaths.
The interval between two Sabbaths, which is Sabbaton. Hebrews 7:676. That means when the sun was, it says in the end, which Greek 3796, which means after the close of the day, between two Sabbaths. What Sabbaths? The Feast of Unleavened Bread and the close of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. As it began to dawn towards the first, the word first there is one. It began to dawn one of the days of the week. It began to dawn one of the days of the week came Mary Magdalene. The word is one, not first. Which is one of the days of the week between the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The scriptures don't give you a day at all. The example I can give you, if I said one of the days you and I went to a store, or one of the days you and I was walking down the street. Remember that day. It's not denoting what day of the week. It says the first, which is one of the what?
Days of the week, or interval between two Sabbaths.
One of the intervals between what?
Two Sabbaths.
One of the intervals between two Sabbaths came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. You see that? So that first day of the week, they wanted us to believe that. They injected that type of understanding so that they can bring forth the Sunday worship through Christianity. Now, I need you to read this right here. And this comes from the journal notes, from the Strong's, what it signifies. Read that right here. where it says, does not signify.
It says Strong's 45:21 does not signify in the evening of Sabbath,
It does not signify the evening of Sabbath, but what?
but Sabbaths.
But what?
But Sabbaths.
But Sabbaths. Sabbaths. It was an interval between the two Sabbaths of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. See, Christians will never understand this because they don't even know what the Feast of Unleavened Bread is. She came in the middle of the Feast of Unleavened Breads, and the stone was rolled. Christ was gone in the midst of two Sabbaths. It doesn't even denote the first day of the week. The word there is one. One of the days between Sabbaths, she came to the sepulchre. They injected the word first so that they could bring forth Sunday worship and inject that within society and have all believers in Christ follow an Antichrist day. Daniel 7:25. I need you to read that.
Daniel chapter
Read.
7 verse 25.
Daniel 7:25.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High,
And the saints of the Most High have been wore out in captivity. Read.
and think to change times and laws.
And they shall think to change times and laws. So when the Masoretes and the Jewish and the Roman people put their hands in our records, they purposely switched a few things around so that they could lure the slaves into believing in pagan gods and following pagan deities and worshiping on satanic days. But if you go into the Greek, you'll see the days they're mentioning in the English don't exist. The only similarities between the linear concordance of the Greek I'm reading here and this, the only similarities is that it's between Sabbaths when Mary came to the sepulchre. It's not even giving you a day of the week. See that? And that's why there's so much mystery concerning when did Christ rise? When did it happen? What day of the week it is? Why? Based on their injections and confusion. So by default, if you're confused,
Jewish people, Romans, synagogue of Satan. That's it. And you can't convert your religion to becoming Jewish through seed and bloodline, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jewish people are from Esau. Christ's real name is Yeshua, that's Savior in Hebrew. Christ is a Hebrew, not a Roman. Jesus is Greek. Greeks are Romans. Romans killed Christ, killed disciples, destroyed Jerusalem, 70 AD. So his real name is Yeshua, that's Savior in Hebrew. He's dark-skinned with wild hair according to the Bible, Daniel 10:6, Revelation 1:15-15, King James Version. Most High's real name the Father, and Christ is the Son, and the Holy Spirit is the Mother. Exodus 3:13-14 with Moses. I am that I am in English. Then Ahaya, Ashar, or for sure just Ahaya in Hebrew. So the Father Ahaya, his Son Christ Yeshua, the Savior, then the Mother Holy Spirit will walk. She is wisdom and all that Comforter. That's the Godhead, not the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity nor in the Bible. All these religions, they lied on Christ. They lied about everything else. King James was a black man selling 3 thrones in England with 9 kids. King James Version is dirty. All these religions and holidays are pagan and satanic from Babylon, Tower of Babel, which was destroyed by the Most High in Genesis, ran by Satan. Government satanic, educational system is lies, healthcare system is it does the opposite of what you think it should do. They're speaking code. So Most High, Ahaya, Christ Yeshua, that's their only names. Only got one name. They're dark skin, wool hair, disciple and all that. Acts 13:1-4, disciples called Niger by Romans. So wake up. Jewish people are Romans from Esau, synagogue of Satan. They get the power through Satan and they control the whole earth. Satan's world, Satan deceived the whole world. You can't follow the world. If everybody knows something, does something, go the opposite way. Because 90% will fall and browse the way to destruction, and there's your path to the kingdom, and she will find the broad majority. That's why Satan's world. So, Bible is truth. There's nothing wrong with the Bible. Religions are lies. The religions, Christianity, any denomination, and Catholic, they don't teach you the real Christ of the Bible. No holidays in the Bible. All the doctrine you learn in Christianity, the cross and all that cross is sin, is idol. False image of Christ in Christianity, Caesar Borgia, the second son of Alexander VI, the Pope of Rome. A poisoner, homo, and all that stuff. So, and it's all graven images and idolatry. The cross and all those fake pictures. So, you gotta wake up. Follow the King James Version Bible, 80 books. Yes, 80, the whole Bible, King James Version only. Outside of religious influence. That's the truth. If you want facts and history, according with the Bible, go watch that. I'm out.